Hello Nintendo Switch gamers, I'm here today with a very cool accessory. It is a comfort grip controller by OIVO, O-I-V-O. It is compatible with the Nintendo Switch and the Nintendo Switch OLED model. This is a very cool accessory. It is a controller grip that slides up onto the Switch and replaces both Joy-Cons into a single unit with rumble and motion controls. It also allows for charging of the Nintendo Switch while in use. Let's open it up and take a closer look. So here's the box. One of the interesting things right off the bat, you'll notice it advertises optional analog controller replacements. There are 3, and on the side it shows 3 additional analog options for the right analog controller. It has customizable buttons in the back. It does have full gyro controls. And it does have PD charging for fast Nintendo Switch charging, which is great. It connects to the Switch, and then you plug it in, and it can charge the Switch while in use. And of course, it actually has dual rumble in each side of the controller. So this is very cool. Let's unbox it and have a look. Okay, we got ourselves a little manual, got ourselves a couple of adapters here, and there it is. Ooh, I like that it actually has foam protecting the analogs. That's interesting. How about that? There it is. Flip it over. These are the 4 programmable buttons. Very cool, very nice. Reminds me of the Xbox Elite controller, which does in fact have 4 programmable buttons. And they fit very comfortably right on your fingers. Piece of cake. So right off the bat, I noticed that it's very lightweight, but feels very solid in my hands. It's very ergonomic. I really like it. The grip is really nice. You'll notice how fat these handles are. Reminds me of the Xbox controller or the Pro controller. So you're not going to get that cramped feeling of when you hold the Joy-Cons. Very pleased with how this feels, and I look forward to sliding the Switch onto it, which we're going to do right now. One thing you'll notice when looking at this controller is that the right analog controller is actually larger than the left. And inside the package came these, which is 2 spare left analog controllers and 2 alternate right analog controllers. One is the smaller size, and one is a nub reminiscent of the new Nintendo 3DS. To swap out that controller, all you do is pull up, and it pops right off, and then the smaller size pops right on. Now you have the same size on both, which is typical in the original Nintendo Switch. Also, if you want to play with the nub, which is reminiscent of the new Nintendo 3DS, although I can't think of why you'd want to do that, but you can. And now you've got the little nub. One thing I am noticing about this right analog is that they are plastic, whereas the left is rubber. The rubber feels a lot firmer in my hands. The plastic feels like it could become slippery, although I'm not really feeling that right now. But the rubber left is definitely better than the plastic right, and I'm curious as to why it doesn't have rubber on both. That said, it's interesting that you do have the option, and that it did in fact come with extra spare left analog controllers. How many times have you bought a used Xbox controller or a PlayStation controller, and for some reason this analog is all chewed up and broken, right? It's missing chunks of it. But now you just pull it off, and you pop a replacement right on. How cool is that? So let's slide the Nintendo Switch on. What's interesting is I was not aware that there's a difference in the locking mechanism between the OLED Switch and the original Switch. And this controller came suited for the new OLED Switch, but included 2 adapters for the original Switch, which is what I have right here. This is the limited edition Animal Crossing New Horizons Nintendo Switch. We'll pop the Joy-Cons off. Slip the adapters on. And slide the Switch onto the new controller. All right, to make sure this is connected properly, I'm going to go to Settings, Controllers and Sensors, Pro Controller Wired Communication. Turn that on, and there we go. Away she goes. One thing I think we're going to do is double check the calibration. Phenomenal. And we'll check the other controller. Fantastic, look at that. So this controller is good to go. Feels good. Double click works just fine. The push down buttons work just fine. So there it is, the OIVO Nintendo Switch controller grip. I am pleasantly surprised. The analog controllers feel good, they're very responsive. The buttons feel good, they're very responsive. And it comes with motion control, rumble, and 4 programmable buttons. I think the programmable buttons are very cool, especially for someone who struggles with combinations, pressing multiple buttons, and remembering complicated things. That said, the meat and potatoes of this device is the fact that it's a Joy-Con replacement. If you're somebody who uses the Joy-Cons often and finds them to be too small for your hands, finds that they cramp your fingers, this is a really great solution for that. The controller feels very much like an Xbox controller or a Nintendo Switch Pro controller, which is a lot more natural and comfortable in your hands. And it's something that I actually think I'm going to be using. It's available on Amazon. It's available on OIVO's website. I have links to both in my description. And I have an exclusive 20% off coupon for the OIVO website, which you can use right now. That's also in the description. If you decide to try one of these, let me know when you get it, what you think of it, how you like it. I'll be looking for you guys in the comments. And that's all I've got for you today. You're watching Greg Adventure. I'm Greg, and this awesome Nintendo Switch grip is today's adventure.